Hello and welcome to episode 218 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Dex and Punk for you this week to take you through everything Sheffield Wednesday. And boy, those speculation time periods are going strong. They are. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But
I could tell you were like, I'm looking for an adjective. What is it?
What words am I using here? But we are in silly season. We are in the time of everything up in the air. There's takeover talk. The retain list is out. There's still no idea whether our manager was involved in that retain list. Our manager has gone quiet from flirting with other people in Germany at the minute. But we don't know what's going to happen.
It's actually really weird how quiet he's gone. It feels like to me that someone's gone, right, it's time to be quiet now and go spend time with your family. Like you said you were going to do.
Yeah, exactly what you said he was off to go and do. But yeah, before we get into all of that, and there's lots to talk about this week, Jake, how has your week been, my friend?
My week been interesting. Kids just pick up everything, don't they? They pick up bloody everything. If it's not one, it's the other one. But apart from dealing with sick kids, I've been looking at maybe doing some stuff in the garden, trying to make sure that makes it look a little bit nicer. As you know, because you've been here, my garden's got bits where it can be done and it look okay, but it needs work. And a lot of it go down to bloody wood. Thank you to Steve, by the way, one of the commenters who mentioned about knowing someone. They've been in touch, so I may be able to get rid of a shed full of wood, fingers crossed. So I appreciate that. But a lot of it is just trying, like you say, doing a lot of trying to figure out this season, because I'm in two minds what's going to happen. It's either going to be stupidly busy like normal, or it's going to be a normal championship preseason where you get players in and then that's about it. But we're talking about Wednesday here. I don't think that's something that happens. Like last season, all I wanted was mid-table and a drama-free season. I got the first half right with mid-table. Didn't get the second bit. And the thing is, we're going to be having to heavily saying this season speculation on everything. And
just an interesting one. Would you take mid-table next season now as it stands?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the sign of not letting the club progress, isn't it? And that's the scare, but that's the thing. Just to mean we're not in a relegation battle. Yeah, I'd probably take it now as well.
I'd take mid-table now, but it's more to get us established as a championship club.
Yeah,
for a little bit. I think having us get established is more important than trying to go for broke and going for it.
I can't be bothered with Wrexham doing the double on us this season. I really can't.
I think Wrexham will have that thing where they'll do good, but I also think it'll be the biggest step up they've had out of it all. So it all depends on how their recruitment go. But again, if they're looking at like 50k wages on one player, you look at us and it's like, we haven't got a cat in hell chance at the moment. Really.
At the moment. Hopefully some of the rumours are true and then we might.
But as a week itself, it's just been, okay, I've gone back deep into Farm Simulator. I actually might have an opportunity to go visit one of my mates who's got a bit of land that he has. So it'll be nice to see him and just see what he's doing. But how's your week been, mate?
It's been all right. Where are we? Again, I'm doing this every time now. I'm trying to think. Finished Claire Obscure. Absolutely fantastic game. My game of the year, completely. Really interesting. Trying to learn some new skills this week that I'm not really gonna talk about because I don't tend to say, should I do this or I do this until I'm already doing something. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't tend to put things out there, but I'm starting to learn some new skills to see if I can do more than I'm currently doing.
You're gonna become a mime.
Vague and cryptic. You what? Sorry.
You're gonna become a mime.
I am. Claire Obscure inspired me to become a mime because there's mime bosses in that game. I'm actually becoming French. Is the I do like how French that game is though, because like the outfits you can unlock, they're just called baguette, and there's like a baguette on the back with the beret, and I'm like, yeah, they've really leaned into the French culture
quite
of this
cool
game because it's a French team. You played it yet?
I play bits of what I can from what I play so far. I like it.
It is very good. I'm gonna start Doom in terms of the off time there. I've got the lovely 30 coming up next week. By the time I'm on next podcast, I will have crept into the 30s.
You're already there, mate. Your back already hurt, your hip already hurt. You're already there.
Well, we were saying that when we were walking around Venice. My mate Adam, he was like, "Oh, my back, like the bottom of," because he turned 30 in April, and he was like, "The bottom of my back," and I was like, "My traps are killing me because I'm quite tall."
Yeah.
When you walk around, we're so used to like doing that to sort of talk to people and be at different heights that when we did like 65k steps that weekend, like my traps just felt like on fire constantly. But yeah, other than that, it's been more of a planning week. The aircon on my car started making horrific noises.
Oh no.
But I think, and I've just spent 600 quid on it car.
Yeah.
So I ain't got any more money to put into the car at the minute. And I was like,
wait,
no.
what you're telling me, the aircon goes when we're in the middle of a heat wave?
No, I've just had the aircon regassed, right? But the thing is, the compressor could be going, or what I think it is, I think there's something's got into the fans. Because on Monday when I finished work, I turned the car on and I heard the most ungodly churning noise you have ever heard known to man for like 20 seconds. And then it stopped, and then the car's been better since then. So, and the aircon, it stopped me. It's just the normal little aircon rattle you get. And I know that can be an aircon compressor, but it's also just like my aircon's always been quite noisy anyway. So it's just a case of like, it's just the normal aircon sound now, not normal aircon rattle. But before, I think something was probably stuck inside of it. I did drive over some sort of roadkill last week, so that could potentially be it. It was actually like down to 60s on the motorway because there was debris in the road, and usually that's just a bit of tire or something like that. But no, this happened to be a corpse mangled all the way across the motorway at the time. So yeah, that if anything from that got like somehow
jammed
up underneath the fans or anything like that, it wouldn't have been ideal. But yeah, trying to hope that the car's not going to cost me money on that front. Planning a little trip to the lakes again soon. Bit of planning.
Do we get another video you and Soph in a boat?
It wasn't a video of an boat. I was in the lake, wasn't I? And
you were in the lake,
I was in the lake, swimming in the lake. Yeah, that was fun. But no, I'm really trying to think. I don't think we've done it. We're watching Eurovision tonight. So that's always
Eurovision night, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So that's always fun.
I need alcohol then.
Yeah, well, I already did that last night, and we really got into this. Sounds so white girl summer, but when we were in Italy, we really got into the Hugo Spritz.
Oh God,
the girls did, and then all the lads went, that looks actually quite refreshing, and because it was so warm. Because it's like obviously got soda water in it as well, sparkling water.
It's a dangerous
quite
drink.
Refreshing alcohol, and yeah, we're trying to replicate that now, but we can't quite get it right, no matter what we do. So I think it might be the type of prosecco that's in it that we were trying to like find the right one, and then we're gonna try and make spritzers again this evening and see how it goes, but you never know. But yes, I can't believe that we got into them as much as, but they were like depending on where you got them from, they range from like €350 all the way up to €8 if you're in one of the more expensive places. But they were all good. Like every time you had one there, it was good. And I was drinking red wine as well, but it was so warm. We were like, let's just have this. So that became a thing from the trip. And now, we
You're trying to
we look forward to that. I don't know if I'm on next weekend.
Next weekend.
I actually need to sort that. I actually need to sort next weekend out, actually, because I'm not really going anywhere, but I don't know if we're doing anything. So we'll sort that out with you and Jackington.
Admit that I'm too off for this podcast. I've gone to play cricket.
Oh yeah, he's off doing the
been relegated to the third team
stuff now, isn't he? Has he?
Yep.
Oh, did that bruise his ego?
I don't know. I've been ripping the Michael out of him all week. It's been fun.
Bless him. Okay. That's the waffle over. Have you sorted the wood? Actually, no, it's not. Have you sorted the wood situation out?
Nearly. Yes. Someone's actually got in touch with me and they're going to try and hopefully come pick most of it up if they can take it. But there's a lot. There's a lot. If James will know this, because you know where we did the podcast base when we first did the in-person one?
Yeah.
That entire back bit up to nearly where it splits in half, where the concrete bit is full of wood.
Okay. I've also just said I don't know if I'm on next week. I am.
It's in-person episode. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, it's because we're doing that. I didn't think. Yeah.
I literally had it like, oh, is something changed that I don't know about?
No, we are
sending the AI version of you.
But I have just realised that means I need to do so much work today because I've got to prep like 3 podcasts.
Yeah.
There we are. Right. Okay.
That just sounded like you hit your head on your keyboard.
That's. Oh yeah, because I've decided to be so ambitious on that day. Oh, why do I do this to myself?
The realisation of everything he put in one day.
Because I've got to make sure it actually works.
Plan it, and if we can't get it to plan, we'll figure something else out.
Well, you just need to try and fit you, me, and Jack in a frame. That's the fun bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have a 24 mil
The audio
lens.
listeners is looking at the space.
I do have a 24 mil lens, which might work. I'll do some jiggery pokery. We'll make it work.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just we also want to make Jack not look like he's on the toilet. Because Jack tends to sit like he's taking a dump.
He sits all loud.
Yeah.
Oh, now you said it. I can't unsee it.
He just does, doesn't he? He sits like he's on the throne. Bless him.
Oh, no.
Right, into the Sheffield Wednesday news. We're starting with a big piece of news this week. Sheffield Wednesday have confirmed the retain list. This is from the Wednesday website. The Owls can confirm our retain list following the conclusion of the 2024-25 season. Barry Bannon, Akin Famio and Callum Patterson have been offered new contracts, while Wednesday have exercised options to retain Anthony Masaba, Michael Smith and Josh Windass. Stuart Armstrong, Ben Hamer, Rio Hatuse, Michael Awekwe, Marvin Johnson, Paul Valentine and Malik Wilkes are released following the expiry of their current contracts. Loanees James Beadle, Ibrahim Zizoko and Shea Charles return to their parent clubs. The Owls would like to thank all departing players for their services, and we wish them the very best for the future. So, quite a hefty retained list in terms of the players we've released this time. Possibly a surprise in terms of the contracts offered. Just off the top of my head, no surprise on Barry. Nope. I'm quite happy we've offered Akin one as well because he's really come on this season. Obviously, injury things, but you can see the player in there. Yeah. Pato is the very interesting one to have been offered a new contract for me. Maybe we just want to keep that versatile player in there. I like Callum Patterson. I've always liked Callum Patterson, but that's probably the controversial one. And then you look at the options. Anthony Masaba makes sense. Michael Smith, probably a weird one because we've turned down money for him, and now is it a case of we're going to extend the contract and then get an offer to come in for him, maybe. Josh Windass, again. Josh Windass has played the merry-go-round and the cryptic messaging and all of that. He put on his Instagram Billie Eilish's Hostage the other day after this was announced, which goes really, really well, Josh. Dear God. But yeah, but we'll talk about the retained after we talk about the players that have gone. So Stuart Armstrong, Jake, let's go in that order. What's your thoughts?
I would have liked to have seen him get a year contract to see what he would do, because I thought there was something there. I will say this now as well. January transfer window, what a pointless show that was. We might have well not got anyone.
We didn't bring anyone in the positions we needed to either in that window.
No.
We were saying it at the time. And then they're all gone anyway.
But Armstrong's, I could have seen him getting possibly a year, but when we found out it was short term, I think it was last week we found out it was short term, I was like, yeah, he's not going to be staying. Which is
I think
a shame.
when you've got Barry, like, if Stuart Armstrong was 25, 24, then that makes sense. But because they're both kind of like in that period where
35,
they're going to want to play every game, he's probably on too much to just have him in there as an option, you know? Yeah. So I think we brought him in with the view of we need more cover in that midfield short term. And it's just a case of he's too expensive and we need to reinvest it. So it's not the end of the world for me there on that one. Ben Hamer, Jake.
Came in to be a backup. Didn't really see anything of him.
No.
When he signed, we all said he's backup keeper, just in case to be on the bench. And to be fair, we've not seen him much on the bench either. So
that's because Pierce Charles has excelled as well, which to be honest is a positive for us. Hamer wasn't needed in that regard, and he's possibly been a good presence around that. You know, I think what's understated about this signing, we will do the whole, why did we bring him in? An experienced keeper with two young keepers
makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, especially with Hamer's experience in the Championship specifically. Yeah. I think it was still a good move to have him around there, and I wouldn't be surprised next season to see us because we've got one keeper at the club now, senior keeper, Pierce Charles.
Yeah, we have.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
We're going to be bringing in another variant pro in again.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed.
I reckon Pierce Charles will be number one, experienced pro
number
on
two.
the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what will happen. Rio Hatuse, an interesting one. There was obviously, it took ages for him to end up going there. Performances-wise, wasn't the best.
People said on Twitter, did he just come to Sheffield for a haircut?
Yeah, I saw that as well.
I think for me, there was an idea, and the idea was right in what we were trying, but when he did play, I don't think he suited the Championship and didn't get enough run of games. I understood it at the time, get someone in that position just in case, but then we had some other player come back. I wonder if it was a little bit, is Akin going to be back to play enough? And this one also, I felt it was also a little bit of the club going, let's test that Asian market and see what it does in a marketing point of view, because it did help in that sense. We suddenly got
it did marketing wise. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like getting an influx of Asian fans in, they suddenly did. I can understand why we haven't done. I think it's a similar case of Armstrong. Is it a little bit too much money going forward, and did he fit it? It's just a shame we didn't get to see him take a free kick.
I also think with him, I do feel for him a bit, right? Not the best performances, but came in halfway through a season. Completely different league, completely different gears of football. Thrown in kind of at the deep end, you've got to sink or swim in that, and he did sink a bit. And if you bring him in the summer, gels with the squad, I think you're looking at a different situation. Yeah. So I still think there's probably he's probably going to go on and play a decent career, you know.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't think this Wednesday side was a fit. So it was a bit of a mess in general, how long it took bringing him in. He didn't really have any time to get up to speed, and you're going to make mistakes in that. So wish him all the best as he departs. Michael Owekwe. Now, you could argue, Jake, towards the end of the season, this man had played his way into a new Wednesday contract. I don't think there'll be a shortage of offers for him, definitely in League One, maybe even lower end Championship. What are you thinking?
You get what you get with Owekwe. He's a very no-nonsense centre-back. And at the end of the season, he was starting to play himself into a new deal. And I think he's done basically what Pato's done as well, where he's had excellent game, played well, and you got to remember, he was frozen out. And in January, there was talk of him being sold completely. And again, it's these little things like that, though, where I go, okay, if there was a chance of a sale, yes, it would have been nice to get the money in, but he had come in and he carried on and played where we need to. But the thing is, with this now, though, it makes us, whatever happens from here on out, defenders have got to be a priority. We don't have that reliable, experienced pro there in Owekwe. Now, there's a talk that he could go to MK Dons, where Paul Warne is in League Two. He's a solid centre-back, and you got to remember, we picked him up for nothing. He came in, did a fantastic job, and he was pretty much the backbone in that League One defence that helped a lot.
What if he went to Port Vale with Darren Moore?
I could see it.
Yeah. I think he could play for a League One side either. Like, you'd think like teams like Barnsley or something would be snapping their hands off for him, you know.
Even
snapping his hand off the sign. Donny, Rotherham again. Like, they'd quickly eat their words and have him back, let's be honest. So, yeah, but it is interesting though. Michael Owekwe and Smith separated.
Yep.
They came together, now separated. One that I did put a shout out on Twitter, and I feel like, yes, the last half a season wasn't very good with him at all, but I can easily forget that when I remember the seasons where he was excellent for Sheffield Wednesday, and that is Marvin Johnson. What have you got to say on the departure of Marvin Johnson, Jake?
I think he's been an excellent servant for us. He's done really well. He's been very crucial in some big games. Another one, though, play we picked up, and you were looking at it when you originally picked him up, we went, that's a fantastic signing. Slightly gutted with the club a little bit, not cashing on him when Ipswich came coming for him, because it would have been nice too. But at the same time, we're very bad at doing this. And the one thing that I am going to miss, and I think we're all going to miss, and if we don't replace it properly, it could be a real concern. Have we actually got many people who can whip a ball into the box now?
This is what I was just about to say. He's like our only player that could cross the ball.
Yeah.
The problem was his legs and his running and his work rate towards the end of his Wednesday career. And it's not a criticism on his character. It could just be the way things go. Last half a season wasn't great. But the quality of his whip into the box, you know, in League One, if he goes down to League One and still whips the ball like that, he's going to have no problems.
Yeah.
You could even play him higher. You would, if you don't play him defensively and you play him as a wide midfielder for like for a team in League One, he's going to carry on, and I think he'll do well.
I can see him going to Oxford. There was talk about it in the summer. He'd been at Oxford. I think Oxford is either where he started or nearly closer. Damn it. I could see him going to Oxford and then we'll pull a free transfer on.
Yeah, that would make sense. And I do wish him the best, because some of the crosses I've seen him make, some of the, you know, he's been pivotal for Wednesday in recent history. So I think it's only fair, you know, he goes on a free. He's got all his options open there, and he'll be remembered fondly at Wednesday, because I'm not going to remember him for this last half a season. It's been overshadowed with manager talk and everything like that. I'll remember Marvin Johnson for the fantastic service he's done for the club. Paul Valentin. Okay, so
I'm annoyed with this one.
You're going to have to close the Paul Valentin fan club now, Jake.
Yeah, I'm annoyed with this one.
I think.
I'm actually really annoyed with this one, because I think there was a case of him having another season, having that extension, which we all thought there was, because there is a player there. I think for Paul, it's a lot of it. He just hasn't been able to get into this team this season. And I think that's what's hampered him, because there is definitely a player there. I don't think he's much of a wing back. I think he's more of a winger. I reckon if you actually turned him into a winger, then a wing back, you would get a lot better out of him because he can get across in the box as well.
Which for me, if I'm going to cut in here, Jake, shows why we've got rid of him because I agree. Going forward, he's a lot better than going back, right? And we have got wide players that we've retained, such as Masaba. We've got Gassama. You know, he's not going to be our starting wider player. We've retained Windass, who obviously can play centrally or play out
We've got Kabachi
wide.
still as well, who we signed with a 4-year contract.
We've got Jamal Lowe for another season.
There's a lot of people who can take that role and stuff. If you're signing him as an attacking player, we've got too much. If you're signing him on his defensive quality, which I don't think his defensive qualities are great, but they are there, that's why I can see why we'd let him go. But it's one of the ones that it's a shame, but I get it, but I am annoyed by it, especially
Again, we could have cashed in on him in January.
That's the other thing,
that.
We could have cashed in on January, which I'm annoyed about again. It's like, you look at how much money that has left out the door in a sense. Just in this play, we know that I've had bids for him.
I don't disagree with it, but I can see the frustrations around, not cashing in, etc. Wish him all the best. Seeing glimpses of a player there, I think he'll still go on and have a decent career. He did release the following message, which we'll read in this one. Actually, he said, I never thought I'd have to write these words, but after 2 unforgettable seasons, the time has come to say goodbye to Sheffield Wednesday. I arrived 2 years ago full of excitement and hope for a new chapter, and I leave with just one feeling, gratitude. A sincere thank you to Sheffield Wednesday and everyone involved for giving me the opportunity to play in England, and not just anywhere, but at such a historic club. It's been a privilege to wear this badge and grow both as a footballer and as a person in an environment that made me feel at home from day one. There were tough moments along the way, but I always felt like I belonged here. Thanks to every single fan for the love, the unwavering support, and for making me feel part of this big family. I'll never be able to fully express how much your affection has meant to me, both at Hillsborough and everywhere else. I've always tried to give it my all, on and off the pitch, because I quickly realised that this club deserves nothing less. Leaving wasn't my decision, but I walk away with my head held high and a heart full of memories that I'll carry with me forever. Like last season's incredible survival, when almost no one believed in us, Sheffield is and will always be a part of me. Thank you for everything, Owls. I hope this isn't goodbye, but see you soon. Very, very classy, like that.
See, that last line also gets me going, see you soon. What's that mean?
I think it means he's, I'd come back, but it's
come back
it's done, Yeah. But yes, thank you very much, Paul, for your service to Wednesday. Moving on to Malik Wilkes. Interesting here that we released him rather than cashing in, giving Rotherham a free transfer.
I don't think he'll go to Rotherham.
Do you not? No,
I think he's going to go to Donny.
Fair enough.
I think he'll go to Donny because Grant McCann can get the best out of Malik. Anytime Grant McCann's had Malik, he got the best out of him. They've just been promoted to League One. If I'm a Doncaster fan or part of the Doncaster thing, he got to be someone surely they're looking at to bring in. Knows their club, knows it. It was a shame it didn't work out. There were glimpses of where it looked like it could work. Again, it goes back down to be one of those situations we went to where we get a player who looks decent, does all right at other clubs. And we said this when we signed him. We both said it. You know what will happen? We'll end up losing him for nothing at the end of the season.
We did, but also I stand by the fact that he is a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah.
At the time, wasn't a ridiculous fee. It was a reasonable fee given the potential of the player and his history. It was a punt worth taking. If he could have been one of the smartest businesses. He is the kind of signing that I wanted to see Wednesday make. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he went on a free. We probably could have tried to cash in a little bit earlier, but it's not always the case with football. The clubs are looking at him, see that it's not really working out at Wednesday. Then they're probably not going to stump up a massive fee for him, etc. So it's just one of those situations where it could have been so different, but it's the kind of gamble that as a football club, I feel like you can take. Somebody who's got that goal-scoring record at Hull in the situation we were in League One. I thought he would be. I thought he had the potential, and he did have the potential to be so much better than he was at Wednesday.
The way the transfer happened, because it didn't happen quick enough, I think that's what screwed us a little bit of well. We didn't get him in early enough to get everything done because it was a whole, is he going, is he staying, is he going, is he staying kind of situation. Trying to agree that fee with Hull took too long. And we've had it before where things have taken too long. It's taken a player a little bit too long to hit the stride, and he kept on having little bits of injury problems. Like I said, there've been glimpses of where we've seen him, we've gone, they could work out, but good luck to him where he goes next.
Yeah, keep doing that sort of business, Wednesday, and we are seeing that younger players' fees, you know, nominal fees for younger players. I want us to keep doing that format. And Malik Wilkes could have been so much different. We've seen it. He went to Rotherham. Did all right at Rotherham last season. You know, so he does make sense at that level. But yeah, all the best there, Malik. Loanies, James Beadle, obviously fantastic for us the season before last. This season, again, I think he's been solid up until the points where you saw the young keeper mistakes going in there. I like that we pivoted to our own keeper, you know, because we're good. I'd rather him make mistakes and learn while he's actually contracted to the club. But I've only got nice things to say about James Beadle. I think he's been fantastic for us, and was a huge part in us staying up in, you know, the Great Escape season. Sissoko just came here to warm up, probably. Like, I don't know what that situation was. He didn't get in the side.
It seemed like it was one of those ones where there was an opportunity. We took the opportunity, and then we just not seen him and not been able to do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, it was a loan. Leaf, we didn't buy him.
Yeah. Shea Charles is going to be a massive miss. He's been probably, well, we haven't done our Talking Wednesday awards yet, but I feel like he's going to be up there for player of the season. He's been absolutely fantastic. A massive hole in the midfield for us to try and replace now. If Chalobah stays fit, maybe, but he's the only sort of player probably we've got in that role. And Shea Charles has been ever present and fantastic. And it's going to be a big miss, isn't it, Jake?
Oh, massive miss. It's the thing is, when you look at it, it was a very smart sign at the start of the season. The whole situation in January just felt like a bit of a farce. But for having him back, I think we would have been even in a lot more trouble if we hadn't assigned him in January and got him back in. I think for me, we just got to try and see what we got in our academy, or see what we can get in the summer to replace him. He will be a big myth, but the thing is, we need to start being able to pick up a player who can do that role, and maybe you get someone like a Rio Shipton to fit that role if you're looking in the academy. And like I said, if Chalobah can have a full fit season, that'd be really good. But it's also the thing, if you look at Chalobah and you look at Jamal Lowe, we now know they had 2-year contracts instead of the one, because we were all like questioning, are they up at the end of the season or not? And I think next season we'll have to see what they can do and step up. Chalobah,
but also I think people are saying, why the hell did we give him 2-year contracts?
I get why we gave him 2-year contracts.
I do as well. Like, the hindsight is a funny thing. Yes, they haven't worked, but like Jamal Lowe looked like a smart signing at the start of the season. Chalobah, if he stayed, we always knew injuries were going to be a thing. Looked like a smart signing, and I still think Chalobah's got a part to play.
Yeah,
you know, if we've seen, he is a bloody good footballer when he stays fit, and we're in the position at the minute where we're not going to have a player that is that decent on the ball.
Pre-season, see what happens.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If Chalobah was constantly fit, he probably wouldn't be playing for a side that scraped relegation the season before. He'd probably be at least higher mid-table, or at the sort of club he was at, West Brom. So, but his injury record has been a problem. So that's why he's a Sheffield Wednesday player, and the 2-year deals made sense. Jamal Lowe is I would try and flog Jamal Lowe as quickly as I could, because he doesn't fit.
Jamal Lowe's an interesting one for me, more so because he'd been played out of position.
Yeah.
we played him as a striker, and he's not a full-on striker for me. He's a winger.
But he's not getting in above Gassama, is he? We also didn't. There wasn't a sign that to say that Gassama would be exceptional, and he's been great this season. So I guess there's the positive there, but it's the negative impact on another player, I guess. But yeah, let's talk about the players that have been offered contracts. So Barry Bannon, there's always like the worry, is this going to be his last season when you don't know if he's going to have a contract? But I'm very happy to see he's been offered a contract, Jake, and they're in advanced discussions now, apparently.
And it's always sounding like the deals are pretty much close to being done anyway. With it. Again, when Barry Bannon retires, we need, again, we said it for years and years and years, start looking for the next person, keep doing that, because it just doesn't feel like we do. Does that make sense? It doesn't feel like we're looking. It doesn't feel like, it just feels like we're going, well, Barry will do another season. He'll do another season.
But it's not like he's the easiest player to replace. Like, if you think about a player, we got so lucky with that free transfer. Imagine picking a player up in like mid-20s now on a free that is as good as Barry Bannon. It's next to impossible, Jake.
Yeah.
You know, we got so lucky with Bannon.
We got lucky with Bannon in terms of picking him up, but we also got lucky with him, his loyalty and how much he loves the club. The fact that his family have bought into it all and everything. And I think it's that whole thing. You look at how it went about that way of being. We have to start being very quite thankful, because Barry Bannon probably could have gone 10 times over.
Yeah. Do you know who could have been that, Jake?
Go on.
Fizz.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
And he's going on to show just why he could be that now. And we always said there was the player there. And I think that was the plan, actually. Because when he came in, he was the future.
He was kind of shadowing Baz at the time, wasn't
he? Yeah. And actually, if we'd have kept hold of Fizz, I reckon now, under Danny in this system, you might have seen Barry Bannon retire or leave. Because Fizz would probably be in the starting 11.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's players available, and again, Fizz was a free, so it can't. I reckon we need to go for that mold. Look for a player 23 under sort of thing that's going to be playing in that position. And the problem is, the older Barry Bannon gets, the less time you've got for that player to develop. And then when a player like Fizz does develop, he goes. We let him go. So it's. We've had so many players that we thought might be that. Remember Alex Hunt from our academy? We were like, will he play that role?
He went to Grimsby. You've got Rio currently in the academy. You've got who else? There's another one in the academy. I can't remember his name. But the thing is, the issue we got is that we've had those players, but they've not been able to, in a sense, dethrone Barry. And the thing is, when we don't have a Barry Bannon in the squad, we go missing because everything runs through him. I like us to have a season where we're not as reliant on Barry as much, where if he goes off, we can have someone coming on and replace him. Like we said, we thought that was a little bit why Stuart Armstrong came in the first place. Maybe that was the luck, but at the end of the day, Barry Bannon will sign a new contract. And as he said, as long as my legs are working, I think I've got a deal here as long as I want.
Yeah, and I hope he does, because he's essential to us. So moving on to Famio. Obviously, there's an injury record there, Jake, but what are your thoughts on this one?
When fit, he's fantastic. The problem is...
Well, he's becoming fantastic. We don't know what he's going to be like after the injury properly.
Yeah, and the thing is, he keeps having... He either has a big injury or a little injury. He's had a big injury now. Is he still like 26, 27?
I know he's not that. He's still in a very good age range for us to keep hold of him and keep developing him. He is 26. Yeah.
26. So it makes sense. I'd be interested to see what the contract is and if there's any kind of things in it. Let's just check how your injury record goes. I think there were times last season we played him in certain roles when fit he wasn't right for. Because we
I think Jake, if we keep him fit, right, which is a big if, but we actually have. We need to bring centre backs in, but we have 2 centre backs that could be a centre back pairing for 3-4 years.
Bernard and Femua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bernard's 24. Famio's 26. They develop together as that centre back pairing. There could be something special there. It's keeping them both fit and playing them together.
Yeah.
And then making sure the fullback support they've got is adequate.
Yeah.
So that it's not all on them. You know, we haven't got people leaving their man and then we're in trouble. I think that's probably where we need to invest quite heavily this summer as well, fullback. Because Max Lowe, again, actually will be fantastic. It's hopefully he can bounce back from his injury, but injury record there. And Valerie, to be fair, our starting back line when fit is not bad at all.
It's not
Max
bad at all.
Lowe, Famio, Bernard, Valerie. But you want another player in each of those positions that can push each one of them or is better. You know, if we bring in an experienced centre-back, then also, Bernard and Famio are playing for their place.
Palmer that can play across that back line as well.
Yeah, and Palmer obviously is under contract still, so that was the thing that everybody thought would he be off, but it's clear that he had a 2-year deal, not a 1-year. So
the same with Iorfa as well. Iorfa had a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
So
and you can play Iorfa in a 3, so Iorfa is around, but I do think we need to look at our centre back. We probably just need one, and then a younger one. You know, like.
Well,
in terms of like a senior.
Say your centre backs, say your young one's already there, which is Gab.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just thinking. Actually,
maybe you just need one more experienced centre back there, and then you probably
you need to replace Awekwe actually, but probably with a better caliber.
Yeah.
Let's say we replace Awekwe with a new starting centre back. Then I think we've got depth in centre back. Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely need a right back.
Yes.
The midfield needs work. That really needs work. I reckon
it needs some more ball playing. It needs some ball playing midfielders in there. But we also
need a number 9, but so does half of football.
Yeah. The thing is, if you look at next season, attack wise, you've got Pato, you've got potentially Pato, you've got Windass. You've got Masaba Gassama, you've got Ugbo, Smith, and Bailey. And then you've got McNeil if you play him as a striker or you play him as a number 10. Because McNeil is one that I want to see more of. Next season, I really want to see more of.
We'll see. I reckon he could be one of them players that fades away for us. We've had so many. You never know. Pato being offered a new deal. I don't know how to feel about this, Jake. How do you feel?
I get it. I get it in terms of what Pato can give us and the kind of like gives 100% that side of it. The only bit that doesn't make sense for me is he going to play? One. Because he barely played this season until right near the end because he's been needed to play. And 2, it all depends on how long it is, how long the deal is.
Yeah.
If it's a year with an option of another year, then maybe. But if we're giving straight 2 year, I'm not 100% sure. But I like Pato. I like Pato as a player. I think he does all the dirty, gritty stuff that we don't have in this squad. And that could be the other reason why we've done it.
He's fought his way into Danny's plans towards the end of the season. He's 30 years old. This is his last Wednesday contract. It's got to be. It has to be. But I'm not hating it. But also, I think he's in a position where somebody comes in for like 500k, we potentially take it as well. He signs a contract and we sell him. Do the business thing. You know? Let's look at the options. So Anthony Masaba is a no-brainer for me. For me now, we're putting a... This might be a bit controversial, but I reckon we put a 2-year deal in front of him.
He gets behind, he goes to the back of the line, get Gassama sort of first.
Obviously, yeah, but we don't know if we've got an option on Gassama, though, do we? He could have an extension clause as well.
If I remember correctly, I think he may have. And that could, knowing all that, probably the reason why we haven't put a new deal in front of us. Like, oh, well, we'll just trigger the option next season. No, let's sort out a new deal now.
For me, you give Anthony Masaba a 2-year. He's 24. You give him a 2-year deal till he's 26.
Yep.
Maybe with an option in there. There's a player there. He just needs the right development.
I think he was our top assister this season as well.
Yeah. He wasn't as good as he was the season before, but he still was up there on the stats.
He's had this first season, he's also had injuries as well, where we've had to deal with. Also, in terms of like the human aspect, for him, it'll probably be good to just take that the club taking that option. He's only just become a new dad, so settling into being a dad and all that kind of stuff. So knowing where you're going to be and not having that stress of going where we're going to go next to live, I think that'll just help. And maybe that sees him play a little bit better next season as well. Maybe. And
again, because we've got that option, I wouldn't, if somebody said, if because of the option, if we heard that he'd gone for an undisclosed fee and it was about $1 million or something that we'd heard from journos, I wouldn't be fully against it. Like, if we've got to sell him for $1 million, reinvest that money, we've got to sell on him.
You won't be getting $1 million though, because you got to give 20% to Monaco.
Okay, well, his market value, if you believe Transfer Market, is 1.3 million euros at the minute.
Yeah.
So if we're clearing, even just say 800k on him, that's probably not a lot for him, actually. But it's more than we've been getting for players, and it's going to look good on the books. So that's so it's nearly 1.1 million. So if we sold him for market value of 1.1 million, we'd probably clear nearly 900k on him, which for me would be fine if there was a sell-on clause in there.
Yeah.
If you're going to sell him. Or he's at the age where a 2-year contract for me makes sense, he can develop. And I like having players that can run, can score.
The one
and
thing
sometimes can pass when they decide to make the pass, Anthony.
Look up. The one thing that we got is there's pace there, but I think we're going to need a little bit more. And I think that we've got pace in Gassama and Masaba. There's a little bit from what we've seen in Kabachi. But apart from that, do you see much more pace in the squad?
No, which is why
maybe.
I don't know about Kabachi. I know you want to see more of him sort of thing, but he's not impressed me when I've seen him this season, so I want to see more.
What we've seen of him, what have we actually seen him? We've seen him play.
And again, not much of the squad has impressed me this season.
90 minutes and some sub appearances, and then he had an injury.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen.
And he's a young lad, so...
The thing is, the young lad, and he's on a 3-year deal. We've obviously done something there and seen something. You don't give a 4-year deal when you sign. The same with Charlie McNeil, unless there's something there. I think McNeil and Olaf were ones that were brought in to be that kind of similar to how Gassama was when we signed him the first season, as one for the future, but Gassama's actually gone on and kicked on. And that's where Charlie and Olaf need to do next season and kick on and show us what they've got.
I was also just thinking, looking at our players, if we played a back three of Bernard, Otegbayo and Famio next season, I wouldn't be hating it.
No.
Or them in a back five as well.
I think when you look at the whole situation, it all depends on how Bernard comes back from that injury. It's his first big career
that's going to be big.
That's going to be the big key thing, how everything goes.
Let's look at the next player then that we have activated an option on, Michael Smith. What are your thoughts here?
It makes sense depending on how you play him. If you play him to his strengths and we do what we've done the season beforehand, then fantastic. This season, he'd been hit and miss because he'd been in and out of the squad. When he played really well. Most of his goals have come from the bench. So if you're having him as an impact sub, then great. But I think if we're going to have Michael Smith, we have to play a 2 up top. We got to have 2 up top to make it work.
I disagree with him signing here. Because if we've activated an option, that means his wages are probably the same. Possibly. I am talking into the wind there. I don't know if that's true. Right? But an option usually means that the contract's the same. And he will be one of our higher earners, given his profile when he came to the club. Okay? Yep. I am not convinced that this is... He gives us another option, yes. But he is the player that I thought, oh, maybe you reinvest his wage. You know? I would sell him as soon as you could because I just don't see him being that player. And granted, I think what did he score for us this season? Was it 8 goals or something? Yeah. So that's not bad at all. Fair play. But I just don't get it because he's not going to be the starter. Like, I feel like we could have reinvested that somewhere else, Jake.
Unless we signed him to potentially sell him on.
Again, we're saying this like this is what we must have retained these players for, but we don't sell players unless we get taken over, obviously. And go on, carry on.
I think for me, you look at it, it's 8 goals, 4 assists, 41 appearances this season. Yeah. Most of them off the bench. If you can get him to work well, and he's 33 as well, so we're getting to that wrong side of 30 age. You just don't want to do another.
Still young. I've got to say that now, Jake.
It's still young. Yes, it is. Yeah, you do actually, don't you?
Yeah.
You get the issue with Michael Smith. You don't want to turn it into a Lee Gregory situation. And you fear that could be a case.
I
want to could have gone in January.
Again, yeah. If Wrexham want him, he has 500k for him, he can go.
Yeah.
Because they wanted him before, didn't they? So
yeah, they did.
Right, the next player, is he being held hostage in air quotes? Josh Windass had his option triggered. He's a Sheffield Wednesday player for another year, unless again he is sold. What are your thoughts on this one, Jake?
I'm getting deja vu here because I feel like I've done this every time with Josh when it comes to the end of a contract or whatever.
Yeah.
In January, he said he hadn't spoken to anyone about his contract or nothing had been sorted and he didn't have an option. He said he didn't have an option on his contract. He's a free agent at the end of the summer. That was his words, if you remember.
Yes,
at the end
I vaguely do, actually, yes.
The last game of the season versus Watford, he turned around and said, oh, we've been discussing a contract since November. Which is it?
Has he read his contract? Because if he...
I don't know. I'm not sure because then we find out there's an option and then we get all the cryptic housery from Josh. Now, is Josh happy to stay? Who knows? Because he did sound like we'll see what happens in the summer. Maybe you'll find out more in his documentary. Is he trying to hype up his documentary done again? Because that's coming out soon. With Josh, I never know. I never know what to think or what is going to happen next.
Stats-wise, it's a business decision from the club. He's played 44 times this season. He's scored 13 goals and he's got 5 assists. In the terms of what they call football, that's 18 goal involvements in the championship. You're going to exercise the option on him.
And here's the thing as well. If we had let him go for nothing, everybody would be going, why are we letting her go of our top goal scorer? Why are we letting our person who got 53 goals for the club, the highest goal scorer this century, why is he going for nothing? You'd have people going the other way.
Yes, you would.
Like Josh is so good at splitting our fan base in half. It's actually, there should be a masterclass on how to just gauge people with what Josh does and sell it as a call.
I think this one is where you really have to be clever on a business perspective. And it's not that I don't want Josh Windass at the club. I think he'd still score goals for us. I think he'd be key. However, in terms of a footballing perspective, he's 31. Mid-season, he will be 32. He'd probably want a 2-year deal, right?
Yep.
He is literally probably at one of the last ages where we could command a decent fee for him, right? So we've said in the past like 5 million for Josh Windass, given the goals he gave us. I would reach probably down more towards that 1 to 2 million mark. If someone came in now, last year of the contract, for $1 million, you take it.
I'd say 2.5.
You say 2.5. I say the reason I worry about us being able to, I would agree that he's probably with his goals, that's worth it. But given his age and he's in the last year of his contract, I would take $1 million for him just so we don't end up in a season where, because I'm looking at reinvestment, Jake. If someone comes in the summer for $1 million, we lose his wage off the bill and we get $1 million in terms of transfer fee. That's a lot of reinvestment back into the club at this level.
It's not them. What would $1 million actually realistically get you?
It's not just $1 million though, is it? It's his wages freeing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the thing is,
in terms of, I'm just turning to reinvestment.
And said that he wants to go to America. He misses it from America. He said he wants to go to America. Whatever happens
I tell you what, we've got a deal for you, MLS clubs. $5 million for Josh Windass. That's a steal. He can play the soccer really well. Bring him in. He'll be one of your superstars. Even, do you know what? If you decide to pay $10 million, I've heard that makes soccer players play even better. So,
Santos, are you doing anything recently? Do you still want him? Boca Juniors, you were after someone. You want him?
I think we have to sell. I would happily have him here, and I would, but I wouldn't want to be in the situation where at the end of the season we're going, why didn't we just get rid when we could have made money?
I just hope that what we're seeing from Josh isn't going to be him trying to force a move out. If that is what he's doing,
well, if it is, it's definitely the end, isn't it, Jake? Like it's got to be. I think for him, it's kind of ruined his vision of if he hasn't read his contract, he didn't know of an option. He's just become the club's best goal scorer in the 21st century, right? Yep. He's done that towards the end of a season where he thought, right, I can bow out here and I can go to the MLS and retire in the MLS or whatever. But this has possibly put a spanner in the works there. I don't want it to be a bitter end to the situation. Given he came in with controversy, you know, like Wigan fans didn't like him, etc. He's got sort of, he's even sort of said it might be his persona, etc. Wednesday fans have treated him well, I think, Josh Windass. So I think let's not have the bitter ending. Let's make it work for both parties here. Let's have a good bid come in. You know, 2.5 million, Jake, I completely agree with that. That would be fantastic. His market value has started to plummet, though. So
it's that whole thing. If the ideal situation you would want in a kind of football club being run properly would be that, hey, Josh, we're exercising your option, but if a club comes in, we're going to let you know where it is and stuff. Well, we know a priority to you is America. If a bid comes in for America, we'll let you know what it is. We'll accept it and let you do all the rest of it. You sit down and you have that. If a bid comes in, we're not going to stand in your way. Kind of thing. But I don't think that been had that conversation. In the business sense, this makes sense. If you look at it in the business sense, this makes 100% sense.
Absolutely. You don't get rid of your top goal scorer on a free. That would be ludicrous. So let's have a look at where that leaves us then. So in goal, we have one senior keeper, Pierce Charles. It's one player. Defence, little bit more stacked. We have Liam Palmer, Max Lowe, Deshaun Bernard, Dominic Iorfa, Akin Famio if he signs, Jan Valery, and Otegbeyo. So that is literally, we've got 7 defensive players across the whole defence contracted. 8 players in total so far. Midfield. Chalobah, Ingleson, Jamal Lowe, Barry Bannon, Josh Windass.
That's it.
And that's it. Yep. Okay. So that takes us up to 13 senior players. Forwards. Ugbo, Patterson, McNeil, Kabachi, Smith, Yasama, Masaba. Now, I was doing really, really bad finger counting there. That's either 19 or 20 senior players we've got 19. In contract.
I think it's
19. Yeah. Which is quite the core of a squad if you think about it.
Actually, myth too. Bailey Cadamarchi, Sean Fuser. They're back.
Yes, coming back. Fusire and Cads are going to be coming back. So 21 senior players.
And if you're thinking, why have we only just remembered this though? If you're thinking in the middle of the park, Shay Charles replacement, what if it's Sean?
He's had a good season at Carlisle, hasn't he?
Yeah. What if it's Sean?
I reckon he'll have a chat. He'll have the chance to show it in pre-season.
Exactly.
So that could be an interesting side of it. But I think overall, Jake, the retain list was sensible this year. And I'm not used to saying that for Wednesday.
It was weird that it was sensible and it was out 2 days before the deadline.
Yeah.
It was odd.
Yeah.
I will say from what's been said that it seems like it took ages for some of the players to find out what was going on. But this was a sensible one. I think you look at this list of players that we kept. Some make sense, some don't. You've got enough of a base to work with to get a new squad in.
Yes.
And at the time of recording this, Danny is still technically our manager. So if this is on Danny's recommendations, you got to remember, he said he put his recommendation to Chansiri in the club about who he wanted to stay and who he didn't. The recommendations are probably about right.
Yeah. I'm happy with the retain list. And I would like to see us actually maybe... Do you know, there is the other cynical side of it. Have we triggered the option in these clauses because we just don't have the money to reinforce those positions? So it's the cheaper way to do it.
Thing.
You know, and that's the worrying side of it. Danny's recommendations might be like, right, well, if you're not going to bring me players in, please keep them.
Make sure you keep these. Yeah.
Yeah. Which could be the other side of it, but time will tell how the retain list thought process is going. Let's quickly go over the academy retain list. So this is also from the Wednesday website. The Owls can confirm our academy retain list following the conclusion of the 24-25 season. Joe Emery. Why?
It's because of my player. I picked the one for the future.
Yeah, don't worry. Under 18s. Joe Emery, Satara Kakai, Logan Stretch and Ernie Weaver have been offered maiden professional contracts. Finley Hunt, Harris Lai, Voldy Mabaya, Caden Remy D, Ari J. Shaw, Jack Swales and Dominic Weston are released following their scholarships, end of their scholarships. Under 21s, Jay Bishan, Kean Flannery, Jack Hall, Joey Pooty and Sam Reed have been released. There you go, Jake. Killian Barrett, George Brown, Bruno Fernandez, Reece Johnson, Junior Camwer, Devlin Moses, Mackenzie Maltby, Favour on Cooley, Jack Phillips, Rio Shipston, Guy Sikera, and Jarvis Thornton remain under contract at the club. The Owls would like to thank their departing players for their services, and we wish them the best of luck in the future.
Can I just say, Logan
the academy's always a touchy one there. Players don't know where their career's going to end up. They don't. It's all up in the air. So all the best to the players that have departed there. Jake, obviously, yes, you had Sam Reed as your one to watch.
Logan Stretford, goalkeeper, is such a cracking name.
Is he a goalie? That's great. That is great, isn't it? That's fantastic. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we won't say too much more on that. We don't know enough about the academy's ins and outs to really go into it too much. Obviously, there's some names like Joey Pooty and Sam Reed in there that were like, oh, they were meant to be all right. Jack Hall, we're like,
definitely meant to be one that's meant to be really decent as well. I think you look at it and you go, good luck. This isn't the end of your journey. This isn't the end of your career. Go and get into a squad, make a name for yourself. And it's Sheffield Wednesday after all. There's a certain Jamie Vardy that had our pants down and made us look silly. So you never know.
I do trust our academy a bit more recently. We've started to get a little bit better. I've heard good things about Bruno Fernandes as well in the academy. Watch him be released next season. Now I've said that, but there we are. Jake, we're going to move on to a rumour that's picked up. We wouldn't normally comment on this.
Nope.
But we decided to do some digging because it's silly season. And if this does happen, it would be nice to be informed, even though I would take it with a pinch of salt.
And rumor.
It has come from, I think the main source of it is from Owls Talk, which is obviously one of the Wednesday forums that's out there. It's from a supposed reliable, I don't use the forum. I know you do.
Yes.
There's a supposed, this person is a reliable poster on there. So we've kind of taken it as if it did happen.
Can I just have also, as well as saying the wording? Oh, I have a knock on my door. Hang on a moment. My postman. So that obviously means our lass has either gone out or she can't hear the door.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I'll cut that a little bit, but we might as well tell everybody it was your postman. Please, carry on.
The thing is, before we start talking about it, because some people might know what the post said. He said, American consultant today sent a proposal to Chancery offering 100 million, keen to build new training ground, regenerate or rebuild Hillsborough, also owns the Denver Broncos, not seen accounts yet or done due diligence. Please remember, offer is on the table. Now that's like me going to James say, I'm going to offer you 25,000 for that bass guitar because it's X, Y, and Z has had it before him. An offer doesn't mean it's going to get accepted. So I just thought having the actual context of what got actually said was important.
Yeah, and I think we know there's interest in Wednesday in general at the minute, right? There's multiple parties said to be interested. This one, I've got to, if it was true, and we don't know, we genuinely don't know, but we're talking about it. This one would be pretty damn good, Jake, because it's the Walton Penner family, right? And so we thought we'd do some background on who they are if this was to happen. So if you go on the Forbes rich list, the Walton family are worth £267 billion. And I know that's not cash on hand, that's assets. And in 2024, they were number one on the Forbes list of America's richest families, right? Fortune founded in 1962, source of wealth, Walmart.
Also,
can I remind people who are on Twitter, they don't own Asda anymore. They sold it. But yeah, so we wouldn't have Asda on the shirts again.
No, we just have
I think
Walmart.
people would want that. Just have Walmart. Walmart Wednesdays, Sophie said. Like, the Walton Walmart Wednesday. It's going to happen, isn't it?
Does that mean the Presto stand now becomes the Walmart stand from above?
Yeah, probably. Well, it's the colours kind of match. This is from the editor of the Forbes that says, the Waltons are the richest family in America thanks to their stake in Walmart, the largest retailer by sales. An estimated 45% of Walmart's stock is held by the family of 7 heirs of founder Sam Walton and his brother, Bud. Heirs include Sam's 3 living children, Rob, Jim, and Alice, his daughter-in-law Christy, and their son Lucas, plus Bud's 2 daughters, Anne and Nancy. Rob Walton served as chairman for more than 2 decades, remains on the board alongside current chairman Greg Penner, his son-in-law, and Rob's nephew Stuart. A group led by Rob Penner and Rob's daughter, Carrie Walton Penner, bought the NFL's Denver Broncos for a record $4.7 billion in 2022. the family's fortune is enhanced by the 7 sports teams, including the Los Angeles Rams and British soccer powerhouse Arsenal, owned by Stan Kroenke, husband of Anne Walton Kroenke. So I don't know where the... Go on.
There's a problem.
Yeah,
because if there's a Kroenke involved, would they have to turn around and say, is she nothing to do with Arsenal side of things? Because it would technically class as a 2 ownership if she's involved with both.
Yeah.
So that you've got to be careful with. So
but then again, you could just have part of the family, doing it. So it wouldn't. Yeah. You don't need. You might not need the whole wealth of the family behind it. You could just have a breakout of it. So there was an article from Quarter.com that said the following: the Walton Penner family ownership groups, which includes key members of the Walton family, has made significant waves in both the sports and business areas. Their acquisition of Denver Broncos, a prominent American football team, has particularly elevated their profile and drawn widespread interest. This consortium is not just noteworthy for its high-profile members, but also for the diverse backgrounds and expertise they bring to the Broncos organization. Then there's a subheadline, the group's vision and strategy. The Walton Penner family ownerships group's acquisition of the Denver Broncos marked one of the most expensive buyouts of a sports franchise to date. The diverse backgrounds of the Walton Penner members, from corporate leadership to political experience, suggested a multifaceted approach to managing and growing the Broncos. This group exemplifies how sports franchises are increasingly seen as significant businesses and cultural entities, attracting investment and attention from high-profile individuals across various sectors. As for the Broncos, the ownership group has emphasized a strategy focused on winning, inclusivity, and community involvement. Greg Penner, the Broncos CEO, talks about 4 key tenets for a winning team: the right people, high expectations, necessary resources, and accountability. He's continually stressed the importance of drawing on the diverse expertise of the ownership group, including figures like Melody Hobson and Condoleezza Rice, to guide the Broncos forward.
Yeah.
The group's vision includes empowering the team's general manager and head coach to make the key football-related decisions, while the owners focus on the broader strategic aspects. Penner emphasised fun and learning in the process of running a football team, with a commitment to not only winning championships, but doing so in the right way by supporting players and building a positive culture. The diversity of the ownership group aims to inspire inclusivity with both the Broncos and in the wider sports community. This aspect of their strategy is seen as a significant step towards bridging the gap between the front office and the players. And the presence of such a diverse ownership group is hoped to set a precedent for more inclusive and progressive actions within the entire NFL. So, I like a lot of what I hear there in terms of building a positive atmosphere around the club, having more, letting people do their proper jobs and not just micromanaging everything. Yep. It sounds like everything Wednesday could need in this situation, Jake. Yeah. So if they are willing to pledge £100 million bid, then if Chansiri, say this goes through and Chansiri said no, it would be one of the most ridiculous houndings out of a chairman I think you've ever seen at a club.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
What are your thoughts in terms of what they're doing with the Denver Broncos, how that could relate to Wednesday, etc., if it did ever happen?
See, the Denver Broncos, they've done okay with them so far. Like, they do a grade for how a team's done at the end of the season with fans and stuff and how it all goes. And so far, they've got A's and A pluses in certain areas. So they are in a period where they are looking like a decent situation. What I like about that, it says all the right things you want to hear. I think the big thing there with me was the high expectation, resources, and the big one, which was accountability and the right people. And the thing is, yes, it sounds like they've got the right people involved so far at the Broncos, as long as they bring in football people to run it and get the thing, which it sounds like that's what they want to do. If you hear what that just said, then I'm okay with this. This makes a lot of sense. And
they've all got their, it's just like they've all got their, they're a proper consortium-based family as well. If you look at who they bring in, for example, like Rob Walton with the Denver Broncos, purchased it, He doesn't really get involved in the day-to-day. He just put the 30% of the total acquisition cost down. So it's a case of then the rest of the family sort of deal with it on that front. You've got that Melody Hobson that was mentioned. She's the president and CEO of Aerial Investments and the chair of the Starbucks board.
Yep.
She's worked on the marketing and the brand expansion and the marketing, so if you think about Starbucks branding and marketing and things like that.
So you're thinking about one thing that Sheffield Wednesday desperately need. You
bring people in that have got expertise in certain areas. So she does the Broncos brand expansion and marketing efforts. Greg Penner, he known for his long history with Walmart, where he served various high-level capacities for over 2 decades. In 2022, Penner stepped into the position of CEO of the Denver Broncos. This role places him at the forefront of the team's day-to-day operations, where he both oversees the football and business aspects of the franchise. Apart from Walmart and the Broncos, Penner's career has been marked by other significant achievements in business and investing. Among other things, he's the founder and general partner of Madron Capital Partners. So he's placed himself as CEO. Would another member of the family put themselves as CEO, etc., or would he just come across if that was the case? You've got that Dr. Condoleezza Rice, who is the academic, basically looking like it. She's got the she is a recent addition to the group. The former US, she's the former US Secretary of State. Joined as a minority owner. Her involvement in football dates back to 2013 as a member of the College Football Playoff Committee. Her connection to the place is personal, having lived there and graduated from the University of Denver. Her current roles include a professorship at Stanford and board memberships at Dropbox and McKenna Capital Management. Rice Edition adds a layer of political and academic insight. So they bring people in with different areas of expertise. Yeah. Maybe this is a case where you bring maybe a big Sheffield figure in. For example, like Lewis Hamilton joined the Denver Broncos thing. He's not necessarily, tied in there, but you have figures coming in there. If you think about Tom Brady at Birmingham, would they bring that sort of figure in to be part of the Wednesday project if you do that? So there's a lot of aspects that they could approach. And even if it wasn't them, if you look at the way consortiums can work, if you just think about how Wednesday have been run for the past 10 years, doesn't this kind of strategy where people are responsible for different aspects of the club just sound so much more of a premise for getting a football club growing in 2025, Jake?
I think that's what I feel. You've also got to remember the one thing people keep forgetting, and everyone always forget this. DC came as a consortium.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we never really seen it or heard much from it. And I think the more and more we look at it, more and more it sounds like it was the family, the TUF, that would the consortium that would to come in and take it over and do what they did and what they've done. Now, the thing is, I like the idea of having more people knowing what they're doing in terms of different areas. I think it helps a lot. I think having the right, but the thing is, people have gone. I've seen people go, I don't like these because more people involved in a bid mean more problems. Not if everyone knows what they're doing.
No, exactly. I don't like American ownership in general, of like solo American ownership. But if you look at the clubs now, and you have to look at the Wrexham example, the way they brought in star power. You look at Birmingham, the way they're throwing money at it, etc. Yeah. We need to market Sheffield Wednesday. And Chansiri is always talking about the fans need to bring in the money. If he had a marketing powerhouse behind Sheffield Wednesday, like the Denver Broncos seem to have done here, you make Sheffield Wednesday a brand, you flip profit and sustainability on its arse. FFP becomes irrelevant because you start becoming a brand. If you look why Wrexham can spend so much money.
Birmingham and Wrexham are literally, especially Birmingham, they're going to have more money coming in than the team with parachute payments.
Exactly. Like Wrexham turned over 30 million. I think they've got a 30 million profit or turnover or something like that, Wrexham, and they can literally spend what they want in the Championship and not get hit by FFP because of that.
I think that if it is 100 million on the table, like the rumour and speculation is, surely DC can't be that.
Is it even his decision anymore? His family were there. we've never really seen all his family towards the end of the season.
No.
I saw someone on Twitter go, do you think that's some of them sniffing out whether it's actually working here and maybe trying to like convince him like, maybe no, this is not happening.
Yeah.
And it could be a case of like, there's more of a sort of shoulder from the family now going to him.
Also, how much of it is going, you said this was running okay and everything was fine. Why is it getting back to us now in Thailand? Why are we now reading things about what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, the name Chansiri is big in business, especially in Thailand. And if then they're hearing, oh, the football club my son has is doing this in the battler, why? Why? It
doesn't look good, does it?
No.
So we thought we'd talk about it because we actually wanted to talk. We're going to talk about the premise of takeovers now. So the more we hear about things, even if they are rumours, I feel like we should put them into the ether a little bit more, because the more you hear about the potential people that could buy Sheffield Wednesday, stops the people always going, oh, well, there's no one that wants to buy us. So we don't know the legitimacy of this here. But if you look at the way some things are structured, what's to say something like this couldn't happen to Sheffield Wednesday? Let us know what you think about consortiums, and this one's particularly, I guess, in the comments. But yeah, Jake, that was a long one today, but
it was
a lot to talk about, and we're obviously going to have a lot to talk about as well at the end of the week. We're doing a lot of stuff in the in-person episode, which we have spoiled a little bit now. Yes, we're going to be in person the next time you see us, but have you got anything to add before we wrap episode 218 of the Talking Wednesday podcast up?
Just make sure you stay hydrated because it's getting warmer again, and enjoy the sunshine if you can.
Fair enough. Well, that was where we will leave you for episode 218 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Guys, take care, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.